If you watched Game of Thrones, you certainly remember one character who probably represents the most memorable redemption arcs in audiovisual storytelling, Jaime Lannister. His evolution from a dishonorable knight defined by arrogance to a more self-aware and morally conflicted figure captivated audiences throughout the whole series. But to truly understand this analysis, let's first explore what a redemption arc is. Basically, it's a storytelling idea where a character starts as someone who has done bad things or has serious flaws. But as the story goes on, they realize their faults, face the results of their actions, and try to change for the better. This journey often involves moments of reflection, tough decisions, and personal sacrifices, making their growth emotional and powerful for the audience. So let's go back to our character, Jaime Lannister. At the beginning of the story, we introduce him as the successor of the House Lannister, one of the most powerful House of Westeros. But everyone knows him as the Kingslayer because he murdered the previous king, who was known as the Mad King. So he is considered as a hostile person for many in the kingdom. In the very first episode, whereas Jaime is in House Stark's castle, he just pushes the young son of Ned Stark through the window of a tower because the young boy saw him having sexual relations with his sister Cersei, who also is the Queen. Yes, his sister. So this child is not dead but doesn't remember what happened because of his fall. And for now, nobody knows that Jaime pushed him. There is suspicion, but they are turned on Jaime's little brother, the dwarf Tyrion. The story continues as Ned Stark is called to the capital King's Landing to become the new hand of the king. And during his short period of commandment, he discovers that the 3 children of King Robert and his wife Cersei aren't from Robert, but maybe from the relationship between Cersei and Jaime. Ned and Jaime will also fight because Jaime wanted his brother Tyrion back after he has been captured because of suspicion on Ned's son's fall. This event will make Jaime even more detestable as Stark is the hero and represent justice in Game of Thrones. But as I said, his commandment didn't last long because at the end of the first season, King Robert dies and Ned Stark is betrayed, captured by Cersei, and executed in the last episode. And this is how the war between Starks and Lannisters begins, but more globally, the Game of Thrones in which Jaime will play an important role. Then, whereas Starks went to war against Lannisters, Jaime loses a first battle and is captured. During his captivity in the base camp, he even kills his own cousins to escape, but ends up getting caught. At this time, he probably is the most awful person in the show, but everything starts to change when Catelyn Stark, Ned's wife, too desperate to lose her 2 daughters still held in King's Landing, decides to free Jaime and makes him take an oath to bring her daughters back once he would be returned to the capital. Brienne of Tarth, a woman knight, is charged due delivers him to the enemy, but her and Jaime are captured by a small lord, and as they are in their camp, men start raping Brienne, and for the first time, Jaime defends her, causing his sword hand to be cut off. This event marks a turning point in Jaime's life as he was one of the greatest swordsmen and is now unable to fight properly. From this moment, Jaime and Brienne will also create a real friendship and mutual respect. Throughout all the series, this relation is the main argument of his redemption arc. For example, he offers a very precious sword to her so she could find and protect Catelyn's daughters as he promised. This act shows his deep development as the sword is an embodiment of what it used to be. Even if he goes back to his family and to Cersei, he's now a new man, and his relationship with his sister and lover is getting tense. He also took part for his brother many times as he is persecuted by all of King's Landing, including his father and sister. In fact, one of Jaime's best quality that grows up and up during his redemption is his love for his family and his loyalty. His missing hand will make him think about himself, and he will slowly be considered as a hero in the show, whereas he is still on the enemy side, supporting his sister and father. But the loss of his 3 children will make him disgusted of the Iron Throne and all the political machinations. When his brother Tyrion is sentenced to death, he chooses to deliver him in secret, which causes his father's death. Tyrion then changes sides, and now Jaime has to make a choice. For a moment, he continues to fight for his house against his own brother, torn in a dilemma between his convictions and his sister. In the last season, he finally diverges from the will of his sister and chooses to join the good guys to fight the White Walkers. He finally goes back to King's Landing during the last battle to save Cersei, but has to fight a last time and dies with his sister while the so-called heroine burns down the city. That's all. I hope you liked the video and you understand why Jaime Lannister is, for me, one of the greatest redemption arc example. He has never been black or white because of his past actions, but we can consider him as a gray character in Game of Thrones.